And my goodness, I am going to have a good time today because I am in conversation with the one and only leading South African contemporary artist who, by the way, graduated from the National School of Arts at the University of Cape Town program. And she has been appearing all over the country. She's so loved, not only because she has captured the hearts and minds of all South African with her amazing talent, her skill, and not to mention her performances. I can only be talking about Zoë Modiga. How are you, Zoe?
I am so well, Sissy. And that is such a beautiful introduction.
My pleasure.
I was so excited when you invited me onto this beautiful platform, and a big congratulations to you. It actually feels like something of a full circle moment as well, being here with you.
You know, and it occurred to me that I have not really spoken to you on this show.
Yes.
And I'm like, but why? So it must happen. And it is happening. And I'm so glad because you know how I admire your work and how I'm always in awe of what you do, not only with your music, but how you also just and capture who you are as a person, your personality and your character also just comes out. Not even only when you're on stage. Nje uzihambela nje. It's like, wow, this woman, how is it that you are able to, because as women, it takes time to know who you are and be who you are without the pressure of what society expects you to be and try and be what you're expected to be.
For sure. Oh my goodness, it's such a layered question and a beautiful question that you're asking. And I think I'm still walking in trying to figure out the answers to that question. I know, and I don't want this to sound like niceties, but I really do look up to people like yourselves who've been in this industry and informed what our culture looks like, what our storytelling looks like over the years. And when I look to people who've been doing it longer than me, the first question I ask is how? How have you been able to do it this long with everything that it comes with? So to me, you represent a lot of grit, excellence, obviously,
Thank you.
but also just an encouragement that if you've been able to do this so gracefully for so many years and we've been able to enjoy what you've shared, then that means we're okay and we'll be fine and we'll figure out what needs to be figured out, you know. But as far as, thinking of myself and being impressionable and wanting to be what people think I should be as opposed to who I am, that's something that I've definitely come into now, where I feel like I'm myself. I'm upalesa, I'm unomtandaza, I'm uphumelele. Others know me as Uzoe as well, and I'm more of that than trying to keep up the appearance of what is expected from me. Because when you are a person who's young and you're aware that you're gifted very early on, you also learn very early on that a lot of interesting and good things can come from shape-shifting yourself, and you realize it takes quite a bit of courage to just be yourself. Good to me, Nalo.
You take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and thank you so much for all the complimentary words you've just shared about me. And I find when people ask me how come you've managed to stay so long, I always go to the answer of why I do it. Because that's what takes me to I keep reminding myself why I do what I do. So why do you do what you do?
Oh, man. I can't help it.
Mm.
I can't help it, Sissy. I feel compelled. I have a deep respect and a deep reverence for music and the world that it's been able to create for me in my own imagination and in my own life. It's been able to expose me to I mean, I've performed to an audience of one before when I was starting out in my career. And I've also performed to an audience of thousands.
Sure.
And music has been able to make me impactful regardless of who's in the space. I owe everything to music. And I come from a place now of really being disheartened by the journey of being a person in the industry. And I've had to hold on to the magic that I've always known music to be the thing that propels me forward. And it doesn't go against itself. It's still magical. It's still beautiful. It's still potent. It still allows me to be a part of a lineage and a legacy of incredible storytellers. Like, what else could I ask for?
I want to come back to the industry thing a little later on, but I just want us to get a sense of unomthandazo, Zoe, the thing that made you say you can't help it has a lot to do with there's a seed that was planted when you were young. Where was this? What was happening? And who planted that seed? Who said to you, or what experience, or I don't know, what's the environment that created that seed that got planted and now is, being nurtured and, blossoming into Zoe?
Uyisho kahle mawuthi blossoming because my first name is Balisa.
You're born.
Uyisho kahle mawuthi environment because that's what it was, I feel like I always say, ngiyimbali yasembali intokazi yasemgungundlovu. And it means I am a flower that is from Pietermaritzburg Mbali, Ewan. And that environment was fertile soil for me because even though I didn't suspect it, music was the thing that brainstormed me in that environment because of what everyone else was listening to. So if there was a tavern front opposite, there was music coming from there, Impaqanga, Nani, that I was listening to. There was someone spring cleaning to soul music and Motown records and R&B records. There was, your jazz that used to play as well. So there was all this different music that was happening all at once. And I came to music first as an observer, not as a person who had dreams about music, but I just loved how it made people feel. I loved how people reacted to it. I loved just noticing people living their everyday lives, running about, doing their own thing, and seeing that there's music that is the soundtrack to that.
Wow.
So for me, it was that, Ukula eMaritzburg, eMbali, eMgungundlovu, and then also visiting my mother once, it was like once a year, because she introduced me to suburban life. She was hardworking and we didn't see her often. But then over time, we were able to move in with Uma. So she introduced me even to that culture and that music, and the music that she was listening to. And then Mengiti, I go and visit my paternal side of the family in the Eastern Cape, Kwampis in Asezikoba, and there was a lot of music that was informing that as well as my father's records, because he also loved music.
Oh,
very cultured.
He had an amazing collection.
Oh my goodness! I feel like he wishes he could sing.
Where is that collection?
That is a beautiful question, So my father passed away in 2009. And because I come from a very blended family, so I've got a lot of mothers and I've got a lot of siblings.
Yes.
And one of my bonus moms, a few years back, gave me a 2-piece kababa. It's like a Xhosa 2-piece. I'm still looking for the perfect thing to wear it to.
Oh my word!
But it finally fits me now because I've been on this fitness journey. Because my dad was actually petite, I realized. Because when I got the suit, it didn't fit me. But I knew I had plans for it, and I guess, we'll see how that goes.
Wow.
But, yeah.
So, and the collection is still, is it with any of your siblings, or is it with?
I think it might be spread around
Spread around.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
I'm just grateful for streaming platforms because I can always think of these songs that he loved.
Oh, beautiful,
and listen
man.
to them.
You don't only sing, you're just an all-round musician. You play the piano, you play the guitar, mhlawumbe saxophone ulapho nje.
Clarinet.
Clarinet, you see?
So close.
You see? You and how has that helped? Was that a sort of intentional? That listen, I want to learn everything, or I love to sing, so I'll focus on that. The others were just add-ons along the way.
When I was 11, 12, because I was always a year younger than my grade,
Mm.
I
Yeah,
I
clever.
auditioned for
Clever.
Hey Yazin. I auditioned for the National School of the Arts, and I
Yes.
said to my mother, Yazima, if I'm able to get into the school, I'm going to learn everything that there is to learn about being here. I will soak it up and I'll be a sponge. And that's exactly what I did. So as much as I auditioned with classical voice, that's when I took up piano as my second instrument. And I also wanted to be a part of the orchestra because it looks gorgeous, it looks nice. There's too many violinists playing.
Fancy.
There's too many violinists playing. So I was like, what's my way in? And I thought of the most interesting instrument that I hadn't heard much about, that Squidward happens to play on SpongeBob and SquarePants, and that's called the clarinet. Clarinet. And I looked up to a musician called a good friend and a musician called Utsepo Tsotetsi, who was a stellar composer and also happened to play the clarinet.
And he's brilliant.
So,
he's
brilliant, absolutely amazing. He's really one of my first inspirations because we'd actually play his compositions at school.
Really?
So I'd play them on clarinet sometimes. Sometimes I'd be singing them. And he recently shared a video, La Ecula Ingoma, one of my songs called Pansi. And I got so emotional because I was like, he was one of those people for me that showed me how far things could go at that time.
Wow.
But yeah, I played all those three instruments. I soaked in. I enjoyed myself with those three instruments.
I love that. I mean, you've had 3 albums out. Yellow still being my favorite. But still,
I don't hear that often. I appreciate
really
that. Yeah,
it is. It's still my favorite. And what I'm curious about, because you studied in Cape Town, and you also delve into other music groups, and then when you did that first album, I'm just curious about, had you found your footing into the direction you wanted to go by then, to say, okay, I'm going to come out all yellow, all bright and lovely, being the flower that I am, or were you saying, this is just part of what I'm becoming? I know I've got more to offer.
Oh my goodness. So Yellow the Novel happens a few years after I used to go, because I self-taught myself with my guitar. So I would be seeking opportunities to perform anywhere, and I couldn't afford a band at the time. I was still a student, and I would go to Lama sessions in Cape Town called the Rakazi sessions. There'd be poetry, there'd be people singing. It's just young people alive with possibility. And, I was studying jazz at UCT, and I wasn't able to complete my studies there, actually. And when that happened, I was very sad, and I felt I wasn't proud of myself because my family had been so supportive. My academic family had been so supportive of me, and I wasn't able to complete,
Why?
Because I was excluded. Yes, I was
Explain
excluded. So it was due to my theory marks specifically, so everything was pretty great. But when it came to that, I wasn't able to actually move forward with it, And in that time, I was like, I'm disappointed, but I need to have something to show for being here these many years in this mother city. And that's when I started recording the album, and it was a joy. It was a beauty. And I came in very green and very naively into the industry, but I was so sure that this is what I was supposed to do. So I was going to bet on myself with it, I remember doing an interview because I just come from The Voice and the album had been recorded before. And I wanted to go to The Voice so that that would be my PR, to say that
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
here.
have any marketing
Yeah,
budget, but I'm going to be
but
here
I'm
and sing
here.
these songs, but I already had the album stashed in. So after The Voice, Lyra invited me to a show to open for her. And Lyra and King Ta actually came to my album launch, which was so special to me. I was like,
Oh.
what? This is crazy. I was pinching myself. When after we did the interview, I went to the compiler of that station and I said that this album is going to live on your station, and it really did. So it was a lot of betting on myself, a lot of really not knowing what I was doing, but feeling like I was anchored because I was guided.
But clearly, this is where you're meant to be. Even that exclusion was probably, the universe saying, we have a different direction for you because you could have landed somewhere else had you finished. The also incredible and unique and fascinating thing about you is
Oh, hey, lama kama.
I can't help it. Ngifana now. About you is I've watched you grow.
You have.
I have watched you grow, and I am just always just amazed at what happens to you as you grow, and also just especially when you started. And whether that was also an intentional thing for the following albums where you said, Yazin, ngizokhuluma isigiti manje. I need to tell my stories in a language that brings out the best in me. I don't know. This is me thinking I'm in your head now.
For sure. I think you are.
So tell me about that. That decision, if it was a decision or it evolved into you maybe being conscious about yourself in a different way.
For sure. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So, Yellow the novel happens and it's an honor. I'm like taking it all in. I'm enjoying how people are reacting. You also feel like the new toy. When you're much younger and it's the first thing you do, everyone is so fascinated and invested in this person. Who is this person and what are they here to say, So I enjoyed wearing the yellows and singing the yellows. And then I started asking questions, because I realized every album has come from me having conquered something. For me to have released Yellow was me betting on myself when I felt rejected by the path I thought life was supposed to take me on. That's how that record happened. And it was there to affirm me. It was there to remind me that I still have those gifts. And as Ishabalali as a result of things not happening the way I thought they would. And within Ganegwan, it was the same thing. I was asking questions because I realized I had a complex about writing music in my mother tongue specifically. And I felt, it's this millennial experience where you have to always shape shift and contort yourself into some shape to get opportunities, to fit in,
get those opportunities.
Exactly, and so somewhere along the line, your identity becomes a little bit muddy and a little bit confusing. Who am I exactly? And that's how Inganegwane happened. That's how writing in my mother tongue happened. It was just me and my guitar and all these questions that I had about what it means to be a black and a brown human being in this world. Because our experiences are different. They're all nuanced, but there's also this common oppression as much as there's this common joy that we bring into the world.
Yeah.
So I was fascinated and I wanted to tell it in the mother tongue because I think the language aspect was for access. I wanted ugogo to hear it. I wanted young people, older people to hear it. I wanted it to be inclusive to everyone who is inspired of these stories,
Wow.
So it was a magical time, and with my third album, I pretty much did the same. Where a lot of the music was predominantly in isiZulu, and it was again just a love language to my grandmother Unomthandazo. That's where I get my
Oh,
second name from,
okay.
and it was a love letter to our spirit lives as people. But now I feel with the new work I've been working on, I'm probably going to lean more into English again because I feel
I
that childlike
I I
self
I
that I did in
read that
Yellow.
you are working on a new album,
Yes.
and it's taking. Is it taking a different direction, or
Yes,
in a lot of ways, or in
definitely.
okay?
I would say
Do
it is
say
experimental.
okay.
It is predominantly in English. It's not love songs, but it's songs about love. It is quite personal, and it is records that date all the way from 2007 to 2025. So it's basically all the music and some new music that has lived with all the favorites that people know, but had just never had the opportunity to be heard.
So this is music you've written before.
Some of it
Some
has
of
been
it,
written
okay,
before, and some of it was of late,
okay.
as late as this year.
You're such a magnificent storyteller.
Thank
On not only on on the recordings, but especially on stage. I'm just wondering, do you suss out this audience? Uthi laba ngizobabonisa ukuthi ubani.
Yazini.
uh, do you feed off them, or you just take your energy to them?
Mm. There's this conversation I was having with Makatini
Mm,
where we were talking about performance. And
mm,
I was saying that I always call myself a performer, but I don't quite relate with that word because it doesn't properly articulate what I'm trying to say. And he said something that resonated with me so much. He said he believes in performance as as embodiment. So
mm,
it's not just there to be a show for show's sake, but it's embodying yourself. It's embodying something bigger. It's embodying the messages in this music,
mm,
which is what I always hope to do in shows. And as I say, I'm very empathetic. Nginozwelo oluningi as a person.
mm.
And it is both a curse, but it is especially a gift being on stage because a lot of the times I can feel pulled to sing to someone particular. Then I can see that and feel that that's what they needed at the time. So for
Mm.
me, performance is not just people coming to see me in my wigs and my costume and my makeup, but it's us having that embodied experience, that collective experience. Because
Mm.
too,
Yeah.
we're all navigating life in the way that we are. And this music thankfully means something to you. So let's make memories, let's make magic, let's make moments. Kube mnandi ngiphinde nginibonise futhi ukuthi ngidume ngani. That too.
And you do that so well.
Thank you.
What is your what are the stories or the messages that are important to you based on just your life experiences, your compositions, your writing, uh, things you think about, things you observe, and you just say, I wish people knew this. Let me tell them
Mm.
how what I think of this, or is that what happens in your head in terms of the stories you want to tell? I mean, yes, like Unomtandazo is,
Yes.
is is dedicated to your grandmother. So clearly there are stories and experiences, and the love you had for your grandmother,
Mm.
which are probably not isolated to you. Everybody else has either similar, if not
Mm.
exactly the same experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that? You know what? When I do my music, this is what I want to say. This is the
Mm.
story I want to tell, or this is how I want people to feel.
Mm. My goodness. I feel like my experience of being a person who creates and shares is that it always feels like being guided to do so. I've learned all these really beautiful tools over the years that have made my craft, I think, the best that it can be, which I think is the least I can do for having the gift. The least I can do is just respect it enough to learn as much as I can about it. So that's what I've tried to do. And for me, it's been able to use those tools to then be guided by them to share these messages. And primarily, it is about the human experience because, again, I'm a human being too. And I'm also living this life. I'm observing other people live their lives. I'm seeing how gracefully certain people live their lives, how ungracefully some people live their lives. I'm just taking everything in as a sponge and also reflecting my personal experiences through the music. But I think what the actual songs become about always comes from a point of curiosity and wanting to be guided by something bigger than myself. And it also comes from just trying to be in the same pulse as society is in. Because if I want to reflect our stories, what is happening?
Yeah.
You know, at the time that, for example, Inganegwane came out, it was in the lockdown and everyone was having all these conversations about identity. You know, those conversations started entering the room. And I wouldn't have planned to release an album like that then, but I was being guided at the same time that all these things were unfolding, you know.
I mean, you sing about the young inja, you know, you sing about Isekazini, you know, it's in our blood. And obviously there's a level of consciousness of what's going on around at that time.
Absolutely.
And also just coming back to making sure that, you know, we don't forget who we are, you know, kind of thing. But when Zoe goes on stage, is that Zoe or somebody else takes over? There is some underground movement.
Khona abanye. Kukhona abahlezi bengiphelezela. There are those that always walk with me. Primarily my creator, and then of course my spirit guides and my angels. But what they do then is they make themselves more known on the stage. And they can be very feisty, very sensual, but also very transcendent and very spiritual and fun as well.
Sure.
So they reflect all of that which they are so beautifully.
So that's who we see. We don't see Zoe. We just see the underground movement expressing itself, channeling themselves through you. And we love them. Just tell them, siyababonga. Siyabathokozela. No, definitely. But you obviously also just have a fashion style and imaging that you just never know what Zoe is gonna appear as and what she'll be looking like. So do you style yourself, or do you have, you know, designers, or do you have a team? I'm a team, you know, who are, you know, creating the style and maintaining it, because with you, it's sometimes you are a complete, you, like you were saying in your music, sometimes you're sensual, sometimes you are red hot, and sometimes you are rough and raggedy.
Yes.
You become all these different things, even in your styling and your imaging.
Oh my goodness, I appreciate that. You know, I feel like I'm quoting a lot of people, but I saw this post by Munei that once spoke to the idea of multiplicity.
Yeah.
And the fact that when a person shows up, you know, what I got from that was that when a person shows up, it's okay for us to allow every part of them to show up and not just the parts that we think that they are, you know. And the culture of that for me in my mind is that I want to show up like that, so that I am an example that we don't need to give ourselves permission, but to allow uhlanyo must be in the room, because naming now uhlanyo. I'm red hot, but I'm also sensitive. I'm also spiritual. I'm also empathetic. I think I'm hilarious. Some people might say that, some people not so much. So that's what I think all of it is for me, to just allow every version in the room of oneself, because there's something freeing about that. And
True.
even when I look at all these cultural icons, abo Lebo Mathosa, Brenda Fassie, Miriam Makeba, and this is to name a few. These are all people that walked into the room as they were, and with fashion, for me, it's an extension of that. So I do work with incredible designers, primarily Neo Serati for my performance outfits, but I work with other incredible designers, although I do also have my own personal style.
Of course.
For example, today ngistylile.
Uzistylile.
Yeah,
Okay.
ngistylile.
Ngibonile ukuthi siyamesha ngamakhala at least.
Now
I'm not too far-
uzistylile futhi.
Exactly. But
Yes.
talking about icons, you have written or studied or researched one icon who there is no mistaking how you just idolize her, Ubusi Mhlongo. And that is sometimes even when you are singing, I'm like, hey, Ubusi Gelo. Ubusi Gela. What is it about Busi Mhlongo for you that what are you're writing a PhD? What are we doing?
So I just submitted my honors research.
Oh.
And remember I told you I wasn't able to complete my studies.
Yes,
This was
yes.
a beautiful way to get back into that space because I
Okay.
felt I was being called into it. And I also wanted to rub my mind with information outside of just my own thoughts. Because our own thoughts are valuable and important, but what else is the world saying? What are the books saying? What are other contemporaries saying? What are people before and after us saying? So I was excited to get back into that. And I needed to scope down my research because it was all about social transformation, like how to transform society, because that's something I'm deeply impacted by as a topic, and you'll find it in my music as well. And I couldn't think of a better example of a subject than Umambusi Mhlongo. I think she was able to do that with her life. She was able to do it with her creativity. She was able to do it with her music, with her fashion. She was able to be a pathfinder in a time where, she was rejected, and I related to that because I remember submitting my debut album, to record labels and them saying that they want me to go in a completely different direction. And with Umambusi Mhlongo and Ibabem, it was the same thing. She shopped the record and said, this is the idea that I have of what it is that I want to say. And no one was ready to catch it here at home. They were only willing to embrace it in Holland, which is how that album was released there. So it's been so beautiful to just take in the story that Mambusi is, as someone who is so innovative, such a pioneer, and who deserves to have her story cited and deserves to have it all around us, not just in academic spaces, but ihambe nathi, sazi ukuthi ebe ugogo wethu. Because we're seeing a lot of artists here and now who are inspired of that and who modeled a lot of what she was. And I'm also proud to be one of those people. So it was important, it was beautiful, as the Pan-African woman she was, as the activist she was, as the, I would say, feminist because of the patriarchal space she was working in, being a badass in this industry as well while doing it. And she just showed us ourselves. She showed us ourselves. So I was so happy. I was crying. I was literally like, I hope she doesn't have a disapproving face wherever she is. I hope what I wrote makes sense.
I'm sure she is very appreciative of the fact that she's not being forgotten. Because no one wants to be forgotten.
No ways.
She, not only you, and I see that in some other, artists as well who celebrate her by may not necessarily record her music but perform her songs, kind of thing, which I think is also very important to keep the legacy of those behind us. For the newer generation is just keep that music, being heard, and their stories also being told. Where does Zoe go when she says, I want to close the curtains, I want to close the door, I'm switching off my phone, I don't want to hear nothing, see nothing. Where do you go for your silence and your quiet space?
I go to the people and the spaces and the ideas and the things that love me for no reason. That's where I go.
Oh, you even closed your eyes for that.
So,
Which
yes.
is-
I
it took-
literally
it took
feel like
that-
I
it
just
took-
went there. I just went there. You know, I go to my chosen family, my bloodline. I go to my own space as well. I'm quite a hermit, you know. My work maybe makes me perceived a certain kind of way because I'm usually in a space of having to go honor some attending of some events and look gorgeous and everything. But, you know, I actually do keep to myself a lot and I find a lot of peace in that. I find a lot of peace in nature. Just hearing birds sing, you know, I find a lot of peace and a lot of self at the gym as well.
Okay.
Because the gym makes me feel like I can do difficult things, which is a
Challenges
good
you.
conditioning for me to remember that in the same way that you finish these reps, you can do challenging things.
You must tell me how you get that done. Ngoba, I don't know which door the gym is facing, which side of the direction it's facing, because I can't get myself to get there. But we'll talk offline.
Okay, let's do that.
We'll talk offline on that one.
Let's do that.
Look, the amazing thing as well about knowing you and seeing you and engaging with you in the very many different spaces that we've been is that you also just inspire other people because of the place you've come to of being free to be you kind of thing. Who inspires you?
Ooh. Who inspires me? Where do I even start? My creator inspires me. My spirit guides, my angels of light and love inspire me. Human beings and the human experience really inspires me because what the hell are we all doing? I don't even know, but we're doing it so beautifully anyway.
Humanity.
Humanity really inspires me in a way where I'm compelled to just continue to celebrate us. You know, nature inspires me. The seen things, the unseen things inspire me. Other artists and storytellers inspire me. I just think of Abo Gregory Makoma, Mary Sibande. I think of Abo King Ta. I think of Keselo Deika. You know, just things that are ours inspire me.
And it's just not only people who are in the, music industry. It's just people and places that are just representing who we are. So in the arts, in the, in paintings, in sculptures, in books, in in a whole lot of things that make us who we are, that complete us.
For sure.
And then when you're saying, I'm wild now, I want to have fun. I want to have fun. And you have your favorite people that you hang out with?
Absolutely. What?
Have you got a girls team kind of thing, that girls that you hang out with?
I've got like a girls and queers team.
Okay.
Those are like my immediate friends.
Okay.
Yes, and I love them to bits.
And what do you guys get up to when you're saying we're having fun?
Listen, where do I even start? It's a spawn. Let me go into my memory bank. So we'll hang out normally at someone's house and, you know, just feast, listen to good music. See, and sometimes we get into a lot of like deep, meaningful conversations and trying to understand the world around us.
Sure.
Sometimes see papele, people are dancing on tabletops. So we allow every version of ourselves in the room. That's what I love
Lovely.
about my people. You know, sometimes we go out. We are people that like to talk. So usually when I want to just listen to music and dance, I will go to my own club by myself, order some sparkling water, and find the closest place to the speaker. Because I don't want anyone talking to me. I just want to dance. So that's when I allow myself to just get carried away. That's what I'll do. But yeah, if not that, I hang out with my people. We sing, dance, laugh.
Talking about dance,
You
do you have
know?
a choreographer? Because the things you do on stage,
No.
what happens there? Is those people?
Yvonne, you know, I also used to be a part of like a dance class growing up. So I learned to be quite confident in the movement of my body, you know, in that spirit of embodying something, you know. It's like I'm compelled to just, you know, release my emotions, not just through the singing, but through the movement. There's this reflexologist that I go to because I always have to attend to my feet as a person. And she's gifted in other ways besides reflexology. And she was like, "Do you dance?" And I said, "You should see how much I dance." She was like, "Yes, that's very good for you. You need to always dance." So when she said that, okay, nazoke. The lady has spoken. Because a lot of people would even, you know, sometimes critique ukuthi hayi Zoe, ucula ingoma efana isegazini enet uyajuxuzeng. You are up and down then up. This song does not call for this movement, my sister. But for me, it's a healing practice, you know, because I believe I am a healer in music. And I think movement is something that shouldn't just end on the stage, but it's something we should even be doing in the audience. Where you're not even concerned of who's watching, but you're just moving your body, you're letting go of all the things that you have no business carrying. And then while you're doing that, we'll also have some fun.
And you do it so beautifully. And I mean, you look great doing it as well. Who do you still want to work with?
So many people. I would love to work with Laura Mvola. I would love to work with Vuyoso Tashe, Michelle Dingechelo.
Hi, wena man.
Kendrick Lamar, I keep on saying.
Really?
I would like to work even with like a legacy kwaito act like TKZ, Nomitrompisi. I would like to work with Sistana, Simpiretana, King Ta. There's so many people. And
do they know?
Some of them do. Some of them, it's a matter of we just were waiting for the song. Because what I don't like, Sissy, is to call people into a space that it's not their space.
Sure.
I don't want it to be in vain. I want by the time I call you and I let you listen to a song, or by the time you call me and you let me listen to a song, that we both know this is exactly what we're supposed to do.
Got you.
I don't want it to be like, okay, because I want to collaborate with Usman Bani, let me just send this.
Yeah.
No. It needs to be considered because everything that I do is considered. And I feel like I'm answering to something bigger than myself. So I like to handle it with care. But a lot of these people, they know.
Which is good.
No mabandla ubongeziwe nje. We're just like, hey, izofika nini ingoma yethu.
That's good.
You know,
everything
so we'll
in its own time.
Everything in its own time.
What worries you the most about this country?
Ooh. What worries me about this country is a couple of things, sis. It is seeing young people working hard and being told that this is the bar that they need to reach to be able to have access to opportunities and rising up to the occasion, but not being met in their rising up to the occasion. We're dealing with a lot of unemployment, and it's not because people aren't qualified. It's not because young people aren't there to take on those roles, but it's because there's a lot of things happening that are preventing them getting into the workforce and being able to bring Because I think for me, young people are the promise of society. So if we're not putting young people in the positions and the stations that they need to be in, we're not going to have society influenced in the ways that we actually need that speak to this time and the problems that we're facing now. So I don't like the disregard when it comes to young people, hardworking young people who love our country and our continent. I'm also worried about, I think, those that come behind me in the industry. I feel like I'm in a position now of being the big sister, and it's a role that I'm taking very seriously, where I'm feeling very protective over young talent because I know what that feels like.
In fact, I see you do a lot of workshops with young
Yes,
people.
absolutely. I do those workshops because I don't want to trauma dump because my experiences are my own. But I do want to cultivate a space for them where they can imagine something even bigger than what we've been able to do. Because, Sissy, we all need that.
Yeah.
We all need that. And in the same ways that it was done for us, Nati, is said to say, hey,
Sure.
here's what to look out for. Here's what to celebrate of yourself. Go get them. You have everything you need, But there's so many things, I think also just the ways in which leadership is operating with regards to our country is so disappointing because we come from such a resilient people who were previously oppressed. And now we're at a point where Sinobu Banana Republic that we need to be looking into, There's a lot to fix. There's a lot to amend. There's a lot to be accounted for that needs to be done because it affects all of us.
Yeah.
It affects all of us.
Do you see the future that there are people who are going to come and resolve these very issues? They are there. Does the future look bright or scary?
I think at times it looks scary and I think at times it looks bright. And I think what makes it scary for me is if people who can affect change are not in the position to do that. If they are threatened instead of them being allowed to do that, that is a scary thing to me. But if those people that are the problem solvers, that are for our society, if they are placed in the positions that they need to be, that is a very hopeful place to me.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of us getting down to the bottom of that.
Thank you. When you close your eyes, do you think of Zoe still in yellow? Or has the color changed?
Hey, ngiyohlezi ngimthanda u-yellow mina. That's my favorite color, in real life. Yellow is my favorite color. So it's the thing I always hope to embody.
What does yellow represent actually to you?
Yellow is it's like a bright aura. You can't miss it. It is bold. It is fearless. It is a happy pill.
No?
When you see it, when you see sunflowers, you can't help but feel healed. It's like it soothes you.
Beautiful.
It's childlike. It makes room for wonder, but it's also cautious. So all of these things are represented in that, and I want to embody all of them.
You are that already. And I want to thank you for being all that and also for chatting to us here on Jazz and Beyond. It's been a beautiful conversation. Totally enjoyed it. And I hope our listeners of Jazz and Beyond, who are now going to be watching us on YouTube, thank goodness we've changed things a little bit.
Yes!
That they can play it over and over again and also just get the brightness, the sun and the flower and the energy that is Zoe, as you always just project towards us. And I'd like to project that back to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. A big love to the jazz community. We have a world-class jazz community here in South Africa.
Yes, we do.
It is one of our best exports. And I'm happy to be a gateway. I always say I'm an expansive artist who's beyond the genre, but I am a gateway for a lot of people into the space.
You actually
and it is a space I revere and respect. And thank you for having me in this conversation. And I'm coming back.
Yes, you are. Thank you, Zoe.